Hello everybody, Tommyruin here, and today I'm going to be bringing you another melee caster hybrid spec in Project Ascension. This is one that I've been working on for quite a while, and I'm quite proud of how it's turned out. You're watching Tommyruin's Maelstrom Chicken build. So what's this spec all about? Well, it revolves around the talent Maelstrom Weapon, which is a shaman talent, and it basically means that on your weapon swings, you have a chance to gain a stack of Maelstrom Weapon. And Maelstrom Weapon reduces the cast time of your Shaman, Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning, Healing Wave and Chain Heal by 20%, and this stacks up 5 times. So you get an instant cast, Chain Lightning, Lightning Bolt, Chain Heal or Healing Wave. It means that you can cast it off instantly, which is obviously very good. And this spec is based around using those instant casts as well as doing melee damage, so you can do insane lightning bolt damage as well as decent melee damage to support that. It uses very quick attacks to generate these Maelstrom stacks quickly, and there's lots of talents which will increase your melee speed as well as increasing your strength and converting that strength to spell power. The spec plays really quickly and is so much fun to play. It is very reactive as these Maelstrom stacks can generate so quickly, so you have to get rid of them so you can generate some more. It's a very reactive and fun spec, so let's break down the talents which we have to take. Now for this video I have actually written this up in a spreadsheet, so you can go and look at the talents, the abilities and any other notes which I have on the build at your own leisure. I'll put a link to that in the description, and that is where I'm going to be putting the whole list of talents and abilities, but I'm just going to go over a few of the more important talents right here in this video. So one which is obviously very important is your Maelstrom Weapon, and I mentioned what that did earlier. That's in the enhancement shaman tree, and it is very strong for this build. It is obviously what this build is built around. It's called the Maelstrom Chicken, and the other half of that combo is the chicken. And you go as a boomkin because you get the extra 5% spell crit, and not only that, your crits regenerate some mana, and unfortunately with this spec you still have some mana problems. Despite all the ways I've put in the build to regenerate it, sometimes in AoE fights you do lose some mana, so having that extra mana gen from crit is obviously very good. Now, just like in Akrios' Shadow Warrior build, there are many talents which convert strength or attack power to spell power, which is very useful in this scenario, and you'll want to get Touched by the Light from the Protection Paladin tree, Mental Quickness from the Enhancement Shaman tree, and Sheath of Light from the Retribution Paladin tree, and these will all increase your spell power relative to your attack power or your strength. So the main aim of this build is to stack strength, so you have very high attack power for dealing high damage with your melee attacks, which will convert to very high spell power, which will give you some meaty lightning bolts. To increase your lightning bolt damage further, you have lots of talents in the Elemental Shaman tree, Elemental Fury, Cool of Thunder, Storm, Earth and Fire, Lightning Overload and Shamanism. They all really increase the damage which you can do with your lightning bolt and chain lightning. There is the Shaman talent Concussion, which is 5 points for 10% damage, and this is one that you can take, but I haven't taken it in this build as there are other things which I felt were necessary over this talent. So take that if you want to. You can change that for other talents if you feel like you can get rid of them, but that's one talent which I haven't taken in this build. With the talent Storm Strike, Improved Storm Strike and Judgments of the Wise, you will really have some pretty decent mana regen, and you'll only have problems on your AoE phases, which means that you'll have to switch to Seal of Wisdom to generate mana from melee hits, and because you're attacking pretty quick, you generate quite a lot of mana that way. Otherwise you'll be using Seal of Righteousness for that extra damage. Storm Strike is very good in this build because not only does it help you regenerate mana and do damage, it also increases the damage of your nature spells on the target, so your Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning will do more damage on targets affected by your Storm Strike. So it's a very good talent for this build, and that's my reasoning for putting it in this build. You can check out the rest of the talent list on the spreadsheet, and now I'm going to move on to the abilities which you're going to need to take for this build. So the abilities which you use in this build are Slice and Dice to improve your melee attack speed and also spend your combo points which you generate from Hemorrhage, Blessing of Kings to increase your stats, Divine Shield to get out of any problems really that you might come into contact with, Judgment of Wisdom to regenerate mana on your melee hits and also proc your Judgment of the Wise talent, Seal of Wisdom and Seal of Righteousness. Take both because Seal of Wisdom is very useful in AoE fights and Seal of Righteousness is better for damage in the single target fights. Consecration is an ability which I haven't actually tested on the build, but judging by how well it went in the Shadow Warrior build, I can imagine this talent will do very high damage in this build as well. Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning, obviously. Wind Shear is a good interrupt, and Call of the Elements for different totems which you'll take in this build. Totem of Wrath is one of the talents which you're going to take, and Strength of the Earth totem is a very good ability to take because that will increase your strength, which will increase your attack power, which will increase your spell power. So that's all good. You're going to want Wind Fury totem and Cleansing totem as well, just to finish those off. Cleansing totem adds a bit of utility to the raid, it adds that dispel. So that's quite useful in a raid scenario or a dungeon scenario. Wind Fury Weapon really helps because it helps proc your Maelstrom Weapon more, and this means that you'll get faster Lightning Bolt proc during your rotation. Whirlwind is also very strong because the targets which you Whirlwind can all proc Maelstrom stacks, so you can get 5 stacks of Maelstrom from one Whirlwind if you're lucky. Mark of the Wild to increase your stats, Innovate to regenerate mana if you ever get low, and Aspect of the Beast to increase your attack power. There are a few more which you could take, things like Sprint, a heal like Regrowth, Feign Death, Ice Block, Frost Armor, just general utility things which you might need. They can all be taken as well, but the main important ones are the ones listed on the screen. So the aim of the build is to generate Maelstrom stacks, and you do this by using melee abilities. So while you're doing your rotation, you want to generate combo points using Hemorrhage. You'll want to Storm Strike so that your lightning bolts do more damage when they hit the target and to generate mana. You need to use Judgments of the Wise on cooldown so you regenerate mana, and basically clear your stacks of Maelstrom with Lightning Bolt or Chain Lightning whenever you can, because holding them there really decreases your damage as you are stored all your Maelstrom and you can't generate any more. So you want to clear your Maelstrom so you can start generating more from your melee attacks, and it's basically mixing between generating stacks using your melee abilities and clearing your stacks using Lightning Bolt or Chain Lightning. You use Whirlwind and Chain Lightning in AoE situations, and Whirlwind can also be used as a single target rage dump, but generally you use Hemorrhage and Storm Strike and Lightning Bolt in single target scenarios, and then you use Slice and Dice as a combo point spender. You'll want to keep your Wind Fury weapon buffed on your weapons and obviously drop your totems using Call of the Elements. This build you want to get as much strength gear as you can. Stacking strength is the best way to go for this because you get more attack power for your melee abilities and you also get more spell power for your Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning. You want to go with 2 one-handed weapons, and I recommend having quite a slow weapon in your main hand and a quick weapon in your offhand, because Maelstrom Weapon has an internal cooldown, so having a slower weapon just increases your Storm Strike and Whirlwind damage. Well guys, that's all from me. If you like this build, let me know down in the comments. I'd really like to know what you guys think. Let me know if you're going to be speccing into it and giving it a try. Thank you very much for watching guys. Remember to leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you all very soon.